I just walk in the argument to one-way, why you mad? Girl, why you was sick? I do not want that. Came home to you only, you stuck like glue. If I caught that Hellcat, girl, you get one too. For me and you, I want you, I love you. Can I touch you? I rub, let me love you. Put my dreams to the side only cause I trust you. Girl, I trust you, I love you, won't judge you.
Welcome back. SEVelocity coming at you. I believe this is the, excuse the zoom, 30-second time recording a full episode. Hope you all are doing well on this fantastic Friday evening. Got a pretty filled episode trying to figure out all the things. Okay, so just so you guys know, before I get straight into this, we recorded this 2 days ago, and I am in charge of recording, and my wonderful self did not do the audio test like I always do. And with that said, the one time out of the hundreds of times I've recorded, it didn't record audio. So, not the first time it's happened. A little bit aggravating, but that's okay. We're here now. We're going to talk about the same stuff, but maybe in a little bit of a different tone. Because obviously we don't perfectly remember exactly what we said and how we said it. So, without further ado, would you like to say anything to the people before we dive into the topics here?
What's going on, everyone? Glad we're back to here and have something to actually present to you guys this time around. Let's get right into it.
All right, so it's been a while since we last talked. For those of you watching, the last big thing you guys might have saw, if you follow the social media, is we went to a Knicks versus Sixers game in Philadelphia. It was James Harden's home debut. The Knicks ended up losing. No surprise there. It was a great game. Some good seats. Got to see a lot of the cool things. Got to see Meek Mill. Got to see walk by us. That was nice. And then we got to see Joel Embiid argue over some technical fouls. I'm going to let you dive into some of this too. Just kind of going over a brief recap of everything. While I was down there, I had a Philly cheesesteak from Jim Steaks. Absolute fire. Great food. Went to the game with Sean. Hung out with my friends Colin and Nick one day. Shout out to you guys. I know you guys watch as well. It was a good weekend. Or, I'm sorry, good 2 days off. With that said, the game itself was close for the first two quarters, and then Philadelphia took over, won the game. I will say Philadelphia is very piss poor when it comes to having a backup center, so that became pretty evident throughout the game. Stars of the game, I would probably tell you the last time we recorded, I gave you 3 stars of the game, all from Philadelphia. But if we kind of do it like hockey does, hockey likes to give 3 stars of the game, doesn't matter what team. So 3 stars being the worst of the 3-star performers, 2 stars being the second best, and 1 star being the best. It might be the other way around. 3 stars is the best. 3 stars is the best. So 1 star to, we'll go R.J. Barrett. He had a really good performance. I'd say he was the best player on the Knicks that night. I believe he had over 30 points. 2 stars to Joel Embiid. This was kind of interchangeable with R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett played really well, and Embiid did too. But R.J. Barrett was kind of forced to carry the team. Embiid didn't really have to as much with James Harden. So that was a little bit of a tough call. But Embiid played really well. And then the best player on the court happened to be the man debuting in his home arena, James Harden, who had, I believe, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists off the top of my head. One short of a triple-double in 2 of those categories. But great performance. The fans, as a Knicks fan, I could say the fans were very happy to see James Harden in the arena. Very loud, very happy vibes. Shame we don't get to see Ben Simmons there anymore. But with that said, it is a new era in Philadelphia, and we'll discuss a little bit about James Harden in general joining the Sixers a little bit later. But without further ado, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, once again, like I did before, I gotta thank my main man here, Ev, for and his uncle, legendary Uncle Jay, for hooking us up with those tickets for a life-changing basketball experience. I just so everyone know, we were literally 3 rows back from courtside, so literally the row immediately behind the set of folding chairs. So it's going to be really hard because, as I've done previously, to sit in any other seat, pretty much a million miles away from the court after being spoiled with that moment. But yeah, it was amazing. A lot of fun stuff. Yeah, great performances. Shout out to Julius Randle for making the night entertaining for me. um, and I also want to say, yeah, we heard Embiid cursing out a ref. I'm gonna take some credit for this because I was close enough. I got off and was telling Joel, "Please calm down. I don't want you to get ejected." And he listened to me. I know he heard me too. Shout out to James Harden for ignoring me when I tried to call out to him. But hey, that's a part of your job. And of course, Tyrese Maxey, who's been an unsung hero for the Sixers this year. Like he's been just such a great complimentary piece, like for Joel Embiid all year, and he's continuing to do so even with Harden in the rotation. And the kid is talented, has potential, and is lightning quick. In fact, he saved me in Ev's life because Embiid, as we know, is a very large human being, and he threw a pass across the court then the ball was coming a million miles an hour right directly at our heads, and Maxi, with his lightning quickness, tipped the ball out of the way and like grabbed it. Because I don't know about Ev, but I was not confident that I would have been able to catch that, despite how far it was coming from.
I I just want to chime in real quick. The reason I
Yeah,
laughed really hard at what you just said is because when I was younger, if my older brother would ever throw anything at me, like like if me and him would ever fight, if he threw or if he threw anything at me, and like my parents were around, I would tell them or my stepsister that I hit him or he hit me at a million miles an hour, and they would always say how dramatic I am. And then you just said that the ball came at us at a million miles an hour. So I
yeah,
thought that was the most phenomenal thing to hear. Um,
yeah.
Continue though. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I see Meek walk by was great. One of my friends, like in school, told me I should go dap him up. If only I was on that level. But I really wish AI was there. He wasn't. Shout out to JJ Reddick. He was there in the building, like
Yes, he
doing some
was.
commentating. Um, as to Ben Simmons, I'm really glad that I didn't have to see your atrocious like second half plays. Uh, in terms of closing, like up close and personal. But happy for you being in a better situation, and the city of Philadelphia is happy to be done with you after all of the years of blind support we given you that you never actually worked on your game. And to get better for us, you were just a spoiled child getting a very rich contract. Who even Ev has said that he didn't feel like Philly should have given him like such a big contract so soon prior to actually earning it. So, um, but yeah, bye bye Simmons.
I I
But
think
yeah, then that was amazing.
I just a quick comment with the Simmons deal. I think that the money you guys gave Simmons or the Sixers gave Simmons. I shouldn't say you guys because I don't think the fans would have given him that money.
Mm.
Um, the money Philadelphia gave him permission to act the way he did. Because
Well,
from there
gave,
moving
gave
forward,
him gave him the confidence to.
yeah, from there moving forward, he was like, "I'm the guy. I know I'm the guy."
And
And
I'm just gonna do my own thing.
yeah, so we don't know what's going through his head. Could be anything from hated the team environment, hated the fan environment, to mental health, to not caring at all. It could be anything.
Well, I could chime into that. the whole hitting the team environment, fan environment, that all came into fruition after that play, being 6'10" under the basket, which is
Right.
the only place you can score in the first place, over a Trey Young, but passing that ball up. So pretty much you hated the team and fan environment because we called you out and held you accountable for you failing at your job there. But as but prior to that, now all those years prior, you were clearly comfortable in Philadelphia because despite how useless you've been in the postseason, we just left you alone. Because in fact, I'm sure you could attest to this. Embiid is the one who faced like all of the ridicule for the basketball world, really, and from postseason failures. And I'll even say I've been disappointed in his postseason play, but we know that Embiid definitely has passion for the game and tries to improve and get better. It's a matter of like sometimes decision making in closing moments, but we also acknowledge he's always getting doubled. Whereas Ben Simmons, he's shown many times that he doesn't really care about basketball. Because I think it's very interesting. This, Ev, you remember that last play when Kawhi hit that shot over the Sixers? And what happened? We saw Embiid had that crying face meme like that went viral. And yeah, I know we love those memes, but I'm honestly as a fan, when I saw him crying, I actually loved it. I was disappointed in his play in that series, but but at least that showed this man was actually what's it called trying. He ultimately failed, like he underperformed, but it showed that he was playing with passion, and I knew that he would get better from there because that was his lowest moment probably. But versus Simmons, he just looked like his typical nonchalant self.
So I want to say first in regards to the Embiid crying thing. I mean, of course, from any other fan base, especially ones that don't like the Sixers as much, that's a great meme. It's a quality meme.
Yeah. Yep.
But what you said is accurate too, especially from a Sixers fan standpoint. It's like if I could compare it to like football, you have like guys I'm trying to think of the best example. I'm gonna say Tom Brady, just because that's an easy comparison. But like when you see Tom Brady, he doesn't really cry on the sideline, but you see him screaming on the sideline in anger, and everyone's like, "Why is he having a temper tantrum? He's such a child." It's that's not what's happening. It's he wants to win the game.
It's
He cares
commitment
that
to his
much.
job. He
Yeah, he's
cares
he's,
about
he's
his job.
passionate about it, and it's
Yeah.
tough too because I know a lot of people are like, when you talk about like Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown, they're like, those are divas. They just always have tantrums on the sideline, and I do think Odell Beckham did have one really bad moment where he slapped the net and it hit him back in the face, but like. I think that everything he does is genuinely because he cares about football. Antonio Brown, completely different story. Who knows what's going through his mind? Um, I just hope that, with all due respect, the CTE is at a minimum because some of that decision making has not been top tier recently. You walked off in the middle of a Jets versus Buccaneers game. You were losing to the Jets at the time, surprisingly, but then you went and won, and you were about to go into the playoffs, and you just quit. And now there's been a bunch of stories because no one knows if Antonio Brown. He said that Bruce Arians made him play injured, and he didn't want that. Whereas everyone else has been arguing, the Bucs sideline and Bruce Arians, that he wants the ball and he wasn't getting the ball, so he chose to quit. No one knows what's true, but a few more people have been saying that he wants the ball, so I'm starting to believe that's true. Wild story, Antonio Brown, which by the way is talking about trying to go to the Ravens and play with Lamar Jackson. I can't imagine a situation where he gets another shot in the NFL, but we'll see. Um, Other things too. Actually, real quick, let me cover this while we're here. Um, Now that Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos because he didn't want to be there anymore, Broncos gave up a lot, draft picks and some really good players. But the Seahawks got their young backup quarterback Drew Lock, and also are working out Colin Kaepernick this week, supposedly, or are in talks with him. I mean, he hasn't played in like 2 or 3 years, so we'll see. But that's just something to keep an eye on. Baker Mayfield also, because Deshaun Watson went to the Browns. Baker Mayfield is also going to need a team. No longer the Browns' starting quarterback, so keep an eye on that. A couple teams are looking for quarterbacks. Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons headed to the Colts. Carson Wentz from the Colts to the Washington Commanders. Rodgers is staying on a $200 million deal, or I believe it's $180 million deal. Um, Devontae Adams, his number one wide receiver, is headed to Oakland to play with his best friend Derek Carr from college. So we'll see. And he lost his second best weapon in Marquez Valdez Scantling to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs also signed Juju Smith Schuster. And the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill to Miami in a trade because Tyreek Hill didn't want to play in Kansas City anymore. So lots of moves. That's basically all I'm throwing out there. This is probably the most starting quarterbacks that we've seen move in a single offseason because it's only usually like one or two, and they're usually very mediocre players. Russell Wilson's a top 5 or 6 quarterback. Deshaun Watson too. Um, Matt Ryan's very good, like top 10 or 15. Like you have a lot of good guys moving to different teams, so that's something to keep an eye out on. The Falcons also are bringing in Marcus Mariota, the Raiders' backup quarterback, because they believe he could be starting caliber. That's all your football news. Sorry, we just came up with football, so I figured I'll just deliver it now, all in one motion. And then, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Lots of stuff. But the whole main point that we were talking about, passion, I think that passion and the diva lifestyle on the sideline, I think that they're two completely different things. Like players can have dramatic moments and like you'll be like, come on, you need to act better. Completely get that. But there's a lot of those guys who are having very passionate moments where they don't want to lose that game. And I think that a lot of the times the fans' first reaction is, oh, he's such a crybaby. And no, that's not it. If you played a competitive sport, you would know that it can get very emotional or very tense and just, yeah, emotion driven. Anger, sadness, whatever it is. Like we saw Embiid cry, we see Tom Brady scream on the sideline. There's all different emotions. There's happiness too, whenever you win a Super Bowl or NBA championship. But understand it's not always crybaby. It's caring about your sport and caring about your career. Because remember, that's athletes. That's their career. That's their passion. I want to do sports management, architecture. We're passionate about that. So like that's something we care about and we want to do right. We want to do our jobs well to the best of our abilities. So same with the athletes. So I feel like that kind of just gets blown out of proportion because they get paid millions of dollars. But rant over. You agree?
1000%.
Cool. Okay.
But now since we're talking about the Sixers, I want to dissect a bit the Harden and Embiid duo since we've seen like a fairly sufficient sample size of it. Now, anyone who knows basketball, just knowing like their talent and abilities, even though I feel like we still haven't seen the best version of Harden, like right now with the Sixers, but this is still a formidable duo for any team to go up against on the offensive end. But I will say, I feel as though they've been underperforming in terms of like the potential that they have, specifically in the, and it's funny, everything goes back to the fundamentals, the pick and roll with a center like Embiid and a player with the ball handling and passing ability of Harden, there is no reason at all why they should not be the best pick and roll offense in the league. This problem is this is where chemistry comes into play and where Doc Rivers has his homework. Embiid for years, despite playing with an elite playmaker with Simmons, and yes, I'm saying Simmons is an elite playmaker, and he still is to this day. High basketball IQ and great court
Yeah.
vision, but his lack of ability to shoot the ball just compromises that because of the way the defense responds to him. But um, yeah, Embiid's never really been a true like off the ball scoring center, like scoring off a pick and roll or whatnot. Like he'll set screens to like help his guys get open, but most of the times when Embiid scores off the ball, it's either like he either one pops out and takes a shot, 3 point shot, or he'll grab a rebound and a putback. But all his points from the mid range area or in the post is from being fed like when he's in post position and like creating his own shot. And Harden now we saw some pick and rolls between him and like Clint Capella, who like he's not a guy who creates his own shot or like works in the post. He relies on like a playmaker to like get him the ball, throw lobs at him. And Clint was a good center, but at the same time, he didn't necessarily demand the ball either to operate offensively. He wasn't an offensive force.
Against the
So
Warriors, he should have demanded the ball, but continue. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. Well, or,
You in
demand the
that
ball
game, in that game.
in the sense they should have kept running pick and roll instead of what's it called?
Because
Just playing 2K.
and Clint Capella, I know he's not an offensive guy, but he was ripping apart the opposing center,
Yeah,
which I want to say was that Zaza at the time. I'm not 100% certain.
2018. I think that was JaVale.
Either way,
Yeah,
Capella was worlds better, and missing 27 straight threes was not the solution to
yeah,
winning that game. Continue.
yeah. Wait, when I said demand the ball, I mean guys who take it and work in the
Yeah,
post.
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but he should have been fed the ball. You could
Right,
say
right. He doesn't demand the ball. He doesn't.
yeah. Um, yeah. So essentially, Harden wasn't used to playing with essentially a guy like that. He never played with a superstar that was on his level, like in this peak of his career, and like on his level, or maybe some could argue like better. Like who knows? But right now in this situation, um Harden, I do like the way like he's been playing as like a pure point guard. Like I'm sure he kind of gotten accustomed to playing this role, being back in Brooklyn. Playing alongside Kevin Durant. Everyone knew he wasn't going to be the number one option, but his point guard play was like elite then, and he's still like playing elite point guard now. Like he puts the role players in great situations, which is perfect for them. But at the same time, I think with the way Philly's constructed, they don't necessarily need it all the time. Like guys like Maxi, Thibault, and like Tobias Harris, they are capable of creating their own shots. So I think Harden needs to create a balance. And actually, I want to see him shooting the ball more because I think because he playing that passive like from early on in the game, it makes it tough for him to catch a rhythm to be a high volume scorer later on. And especially in closing moments of the game, that's when they're really going to need Harden because Embiid, throughout the game, as we always saw, he's going to keep drawing those double teams. And in closing moments, that's when you really need that perimeter play. And that's where Harden is necessary. Now, I understand while Embiid's out there on the floor, Harden also probably doesn't want to overstep like his role on the team either, since he knows this is Embiid's team right now. He's really the number one option, and he's just trying to fill it, fill in and figure his way out. But throughout the game, they keep Embiid and Harden off the court on the court at different times. So those points when Embiid is off the court, I think that's when we need to see Harden, the prolific scorer, or more than ever. Uh,
I think that's a fair argument. I just
Yeah.
want to. I want to. You said something in that talking point that I just want to address real quick, and
Mhm.
I don't think you meant it, but I want to double check.
Mhm.
Um, so you mentioned James Harden. This is the first time he's been with someone of his caliber. Um, Now
Mhm.
I just want to correct that because I feel like I agree with you with Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook. They were already past their primes at the time,
Yeah.
but we have that small stint with Kevin Durant, and I just want to clarify that we're not talking about him, right? Like he's
Oh yeah.
not in
No,
that
no,
part.
no. No, remember I said when he went to Brooklyn, Kevin Durant, we knew was definitely better.
Oh,
But
okay, okay,
I'm saying that he's with someone who we can look at as his equal.
okay. Yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure because I wasn't sure if that was thrown into that statement. Now when it comes to James Harden, I agree with you. The pick and roll needs to be a little bit better. But another thing is, I feel like pick and roll, pick and pop could be either or. But the biggest thing I want to say is you don't just have to run it with Joel Embiid. You can run that with Tobias Harris too. Like he is a very capable scorer. I'm not saying straight up pick and roll constantly. Well, hear me out. Hear me out.
Mhm.
Pick and pop would be great for Tobias Harris, but understand at the same time, pick and roll wouldn't be so bad because keep in mind, let's say Tobias Harris is open, but he's about to get crowded at the rim. As he gets that ball, that usually means someone like Embiid or someone else is going to get open on the shift to Tobias Harris, so it could open another pass. So I think the
Mhm.
spacing of a Tobias Harris pick and roll would be pretty good because I think people are going to be worried about either covering Embiid or a wide open Tobias Harris, and it's kind of you pick which one do you want to cover. And I think a lot of the times either Embiid's going to be wide open or Tobias Harris is going to be able to finish a layup no problem. Um, So I think that's something that they should probably work on. But I do agree with you. When Embiid is not on the court, you definitely need to work more on James Harden being your straight up scorer. And you cannot run that pick and roll with Tobias Harris if Embiid is not on the court. Like the threat of
Hmm.
Embiid being there is key for Tobias Harris to have that success.
And especially because when Embiid's not there, no, they can't get a rebound.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan, sorry, you're way too old. Then that point, your margin of error is lower. That's when Harden, you need to be out there scoring the ball. Like nobody's gonna score the ball at like a consistent rate on that court like you.
Can I ask you something? So I
Hmm.
know now before you answer this question, I know that you do not miss this person over having James Harden. But I'm
Yeah.
going to say, do you miss Andre Drummond in general?
Oh, yes, I do. Like when the trade went down, him and Seth Curry, I did not want to lose them. Andre Drummond, solely because of the rebounding, like Embiid had a backup of center off the bench, and now he's actually playing his role phenomenally well in Brooklyn, which is something that they lacked, a pure rebounder.
I am surprised that they weren't able to keep Drummond, the Sixers. I thought that I felt like they were going to lose either Maxi or Seth, probably Seth. But like I thought they would be able to keep Drummond because I didn't think that was going to be as big of a piece in that trade.
Hmm.
But here we are.
Oh, I also want to point this out for the Sixers. If you guys want to go anywhere, you might want to look about trading Tobias Harris. I'm sorry, this man's contract is enormous. He has not played
But
like up to
that's
standard for it.
that's the problem because his contract's massive. No one's going to want him.
Yeah. Um, it's whoever was the, I think it was Elton Brand. He was the main executive in Philly. Whoever it was who decided to send that money at him and not Jimmy Butler. Shame on you.
Yeah, I agree. Hey,
Hmm.
you know what?
And
We'll
and
give
this
you we'll give you Julius Randle for Tobias Harris.
and on the flip side, Tobias pl- be consistent. Like we see Tobias have these nights. I forgot about this. If everyone doesn't know, on March 20th, this past Sunday, it was my birthday, and I was there at the Sixers Raptors game. And shout out to the Raptors because they stepped their game up recently. Like at first, I thought it should have been a blowout game, but I didn't notice like because I wasn't watching them too all that much this year how much they've improved like the record, and they're a
Fred Van
tough
Vliet,
team.
OG
Yeah,
Anobi.
and Anobi, yeah,
Yeah,
that team's defense like is insane. Even Precious Achua, like, and
yeah.
that exploited. Even though they don't really have centers, they have a lot of power forwards, but still, that exploited like how small of a team Philly is too. Outside of Embiid, when Embiid wasn't on the floor, they couldn't get a rebound. And on defense, there are many instances where you had like our guards like Maxi, even Tybalt and James Harden guarding like Pascal Siakam, and like he's 6'9", like that cannot happen. But yeah, the Sixers decided they lost that game on my birthday. I was heartbroken, but despite that, that was the best game I ever saw because it came down to like it was a 6 point game, but it came down to like the last possession. We were down by two, and the ref clearly they forgot that they were refing Wells Fargo Center for the Philadelphia 76ers, called a flagrant foul on Harden for going up for a layup. Um, but it is what it is. Um, but then the following day, when they played the Miami Heat and Joel Embiid and James Harden did not play, Tobias could not miss that game. Like I was watching, and I'm like, I hate you, man. I hate you. Why now? Why now? Why can't you do this all the time?
Um, how did I want to start this? Okay, so I wanted to talk replacements for not James Harden or a backup center. I think that you guys should bring one in definitely after the offseason. Obviously, you can't bring one in now unless it's like a waiver kind of deal. Um,
Mhm.
I just want to say Mitchell Robinson is a free agent after this year. And
Yep.
listen, I think Mitchell Robinson is one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. The problem is he doesn't play a lot of offense. So, with that said, though, I think that's exactly what the Sixers need. I don't think
Yeah.
he's technically a starting caliber center. He's starting caliber defensive wise, but he can't play both sides. So I think with that said, that's all you really need from him as a backup. I mean, scoring would be nice, but you can lean on Maxey, Harden, Tobias Harris, because one of those three is going to be in the game, if not two or three of them. And then you just need Mitchell Robinson to rebound for you. Him or Bobby Portis, someone like that though, backup center caliber, but like can rebound. I think that's really important. You guys really need rebounding, and I think a true power forward would be really nice to have too.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, do you want to talk about the rest of the NBA?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull up the standings real quick.
Okay. I'll start off real quick too. Let me talk about some college basketball because we'll fly through this. So,
Okay.
college basketball, as everyone knows, it is March Madness. We have everyone filling out brackets. I have my family, about 10 people filled out brackets. We have them all on ESPN to see who's doing the best. Sean also added his bracket in his group, and he's keeping tabs on his. For those of you who are wondering where I'm at, I had Auburn versus Gonzaga. Auburn was eliminated in the second round, and Gonzaga was eliminated last night. So my champions are gone. My Final Four is completely gone, if I'm not mistaken. I have Kentucky, Gonzaga, Arizona, and Auburn. All of them are eliminated. So 10 out of 10. The game of the year was on last night. Texas Tech versus Duke. Texas Tech, best defense in college basketball. Duke with two of the top 10 prospects. Great game. Duke ends up coming up on top. Banchero came up big for them. Tech was good. They just crumbled a little bit late, and also Duke played well late. I know you saw the game. What did you think of that?
Yeah, phenomenal. Like I don't follow college basketball as much as Ev does. Ev is the expert in that department, much more so than me. But I tune in here and there, especially for March Madness. Well, I'll be honest, my bracket was a big incentive, but that was an amazing game to watch. What's his name? That kid. I forgot the first name. His last name is Roach though on Duke. He's a closer. That was a great performance out of him. Um, Now, so my bracket, my final four, I had Duke versus Kentucky and Villanova versus LSU. Kentucky and LSU are out, but Duke and Villanova are still in it. Um, I picked Kentucky versus Villanova for the final matchup, so that's not going to happen. But I have Nova winning it all, and then my bracket group, before the yesterday, I was tied for second place at 87%, and the person whoever was in first place had a 97% on the bracket, which I found completely ridiculous. But all of that flipped last night because now even though I'm still frustrated, I'm tied for first place, which nauseates me. But I'm tied for first place with 93% accuracy in my bracket, and the person who was formerly in number one fell down to like 87. So I'm
So,
leading, and the prize is an NFT, which I don't understand at all, but I just know they're valuable.
yeah, don't talk to me about NFTs. That's not my department. But I was in second or third place. Now it says my max amount. I have 430 points, and it says my maximum amount of points is 430. So in other words, I can't advance anymore. If I'm not mistaken, wow, that is. I was wondering. I was wondering why my max is 430 and I'm only at 430. I don't have anyone left in the Elite Eight. Everyone's gone. Everyone is gone. So
Rest in peace, your bracket.
let me just run through this. So I had Gonzaga beating Arkansas. They lost to Arkansas, so that's one team gone, right?
Mhm.
Texas Tech versus Duke. I believe in defense, so I picked Texas Tech. Duke wins. So that's two teams out. All right. So those are two of the 8 teams gone. Had Baylor winning. They lose. Second round of North Carolina. That's 3 teams out. Kentucky loses first round as a 2 seed. 4 teams out. I had Arizona beating Houston. For whatever reason, I told everyone this week, too, that Houston's probably going to win the college championship, even though I picked Arizona. Don't know why I don't listen to myself. That's 5 people out. Bye, Arizona. Houston advances. I picked Tennessee because they looked great. I love Villanova. I think Villanova is a really good school. But I thought Tennessee was going to beat them. Tennessee doesn't even make it out of the 6th round. Or 2nd round. That's 6 teams gone. All right.
Hey, Ev, you should know the rule of thumb. The Southerners, they own football, but up in the Northeast, we have basketball.
Yeah, Tennessee was straight up trash. They looked great in their 1st round, so screw you guys. Sorry. Now, I needed one Cinderella team, right? There's always one Cinderella team that's going to be in the Elite Eight. Didn't know it was going to be number 15 St. Peter's type of Cinderella. So I put number 8 San Diego State beating number 1 Kansas. San Diego State, great basketball team. They lose 2nd round to not New Mexico State. I'm sorry, Providence. Boom, 7 teams out. Last one, Auburn. My runner-up. Couldn't even beat Miami in the 2nd round. Bye, Auburn. All 8 teams gone. So, didn't even know that till today. All of my teams are gone. Shout out to Chet Holmgren, too. 0 points in the 1st half. Number 1 Gonzaga going against number 4 Arkansas. And you're supposed to be drafted number 1 in the NBA draft? Excuse me? And you put up 0 at 7'1"? You had a good recovery in the 2nd half. But guess what? It wasn't enough. The refs screwed you. I'll give you that. The refs are garbage. But hey, you didn't score in the 1st half. So that's my college bracket. Sayonara. Didn't even know till 2 seconds ago. Glad I wasted my time.
Better luck next year.
And we did a small family bet. Everyone threw in $20. So I might as well just take my $20 bill and light it on fire. Also want to add, for the heck of it, number 15 St. Peter's, one of the highest seeds to advance into this type of round, Sweet 16. I decided, because they had they had plus 35,000 odds to win the NCAA championship at the start of the Sweet 16. I put $2.86 on them to win. The only reason I did that is because that comes out to just over $1,000 if I'm right. So $2 bet, $1,000 if I'm right. Low risk, high reward. We'll give it a shot. I also put a bet on the team that I actually think is going to win, which is Houston. We'll see how they do. But other than that, that's college basketball. For my end, screw the teams who lost and my Elite Eight. The floor is yours. Go ahead. Tell everyone that your bracket's killing it.
Yeah, I already went on to that, but I'm just gonna tell everyone who I think will gonna be the marquee matchup tonight at 9:39. UNC versus UCLA. Like, I'm definitely tuning into that one.
I agree. That's gonna be a great game. I want to mention,
AKA that's Michael Jordan's team versus UCLA. I know Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love, and others like represented them. Oh, and I can't believe I forgot to mention this. LSU, I had them making it pretty far. Thanks a lot for losing, but you know what? That was Ben Simmons' school, so I'm not surprised.
LSU, baby!
Yeah, Ben Simmons is your
Keep in
icon.
mind, no, he's not. Shaquille O'Neal's our icon. Get lost. And probably all the star wide receivers from LSU. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and Joe Burrow now. Mr. Bengal himself. But let me talk about today's games. Number 15 St. Peter's versus number 3 Purdue. Now, Purdue should obviously win. But
halftime right now, by the way, just
4-point game, right?
Yeah, they're 33-29.
So
Purdue up.
St. Peter's is going to win this game. You want to know why? St. Peter's, they're called the St. Peter's Peacocks. You know what today is? Today is International Peacock Day. So all I'm saying is there's a chance.
I can't even keep track of all of these national days.
There's a day every day. everyone
Yeah.
declares something some sort of day. So this is International Peacock Day. Don't sleep on the St. Peter's Peacocks. This podcast is going to end, and the St. Peter's Peacocks are going to be in the Elite Eight, and I'm going to be one step closer to $1,000. Other than that, that's where we're at with college basketball. North Carolina and UCLA would probably be my game of the day. I think Kansas versus Providence. They're low seeds, but I don't think Providence matches up well against Kansas. I think that could be a blowout. Miami versus Iowa State. That's just a good Cinderella story because they're both 10 and 11 seeds. So one Cinderella team's just going to make it to the Elite Eight out of those two. I think Iowa State is better than Miami, but Miami looked really good against Auburn, so we'll see. But if I had to put, listen, I lost all 8 of my teams. But if you're watching this and you're looking at my eyes right now,
Mhm.
and I told you to throw all your money in the world on one team, and I know I have no credibility after losing all 8 of my final teams, I would tell you Houston's going to win. If Houston
Win
can
it all.
bully, yeah. If Houston was ranked number 2 in the BPI index behind Gonzaga. ESPN ranked them the second strongest team in the tournament, and they were a 5th seed. They just kicked the crap out of Arizona, who was 35-3 for the season, and they were the number 1 seed, so they destroyed them. I think they're the most experienced, and I think that they have faced the best teams throughout the season. So I would say Houston is probably the best, but I would say second best is easily Villanova, and then maybe third Duke. I would love to see Purdue win. I like Purdue. I usually like to put them in the Final Four. But Purdue always finds a way to lose, usually in the Elite Eight, so don't expect them to lose tonight, but probably next round. And like I said, Cinderella versus a team I like, we're going with the Peacocks. Number 15, St. Peter's, book it. So that's our college basketball. Now, NBA standings, let's get into it because I know that's where we were going to start.
All right. I'll have them up right here. I'll start with the East Coast, which to me, I think postseason wise is going to be the more interesting conference to watch this year.
More interesting or
Similarly,
more powerful? I want to check that too.
I feel like that's a funny thing that maybe like the
The
league is
power
so
is slowly
balanced
starting to
now.
lean towards the East. Slowly.
Yeah, but it's so balanced now. In the East, from going down from number 1, I'm gonna go all the way down to 8, well to 10, since that's where the play-in is, and the play-in is gonna stay apparently. The Miami Heat. Shout out Miami. Um, Everyone, please don't overreact to the altercation between Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, and Udonis Haslem. The spur of a moment
That's
thing.
just 3 people caring about the sport. Continue.
They'll get over it.
Carry
But
the hell on.
yeah, exactly. Cause notice they didn't throw anybody under the bus like in the media and stuff. They're
Right.
keeping that within. That's Heat culture, Heat Nation. I rep y'all. Um, Number 2, wow, and they really climbed. Well, actually, there was never like a clear number 1 because the standings keep flipping. The Milwaukee
They've been
Bucks,
killing it recently.
yup, they're 1 win below the Heat. And honestly, I think I don't know if you'll disagree. I think the Bucks are better this year solely because of the improved play of Bobby Portis. Like this man's offense has stepped up so much, like the way he's shooting.
They're better than they are last year, but the rest of the NBA is healthier and better than they were last year as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the way Bobby Portis, the man, like he's not. It's not like he just found a jump shot. He's actually consistently hitting shots and stretching the floor now. Like you, Evan knew the secret. Last year, Ev said, "Bring Bobby Portis out there to rebound and defend. You guys are good," and it worked. But note that last year you did not say a word about offense. Now this
I
man
didn't.
has offensive impact. Like
Because I've never
this guy
seen
is
offense
so
like that
helpful.
before from him.
Yeah, like they're gonna be
But
even more dangerous this year.
but it's like I said, we're moving to a league where either 2 centers or a very big power forward and a center is very powerful in this league because you can control the rebounding. That's why the Cavs are so successful with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and that's why the Bucks are so successful with Giannis and Bobby Portis.
And that's to
Continue.
all you people who don't know a damn thing about basketball and only knows how to look at the point totals.
Mm-hmm.
Now third, and again it's still close. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're at 45 wins, one below the Bucks, two below the Heat. Um, I think Philly's kind of like where we expected they would be. Um, I guess them and Milwaukee, like we kind of expected them to be like around the top three. For the Heat are the real surprise. The East, number four. Now this team really climbed from the trenches. The Boston Celtics.
9-1 in the last 10 games.
Yeah, Jason Tatum like has had some big performances lately, and of course Jalen Brown, like who Loki an unsung hero on the team. I think he deserves more recognition, and people should actually start talking about him on that superstar level. I think, not
Who?
necessarily obviously Jason Jalen Brown.
Who? No, I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah,
I just hate the
obviously,
Celtics. Sorry, continue.
obviously not on like the LeBron James or whatever level, but I
Top
don't know
20,
about
top
you.
25.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Ev. I really do not think Jalen Brown is that far behind Jason Tatum.
I
I
agree
really don't. I
because
think
he's
he is.
he,
I think he's like could be like you could be consider him like a on the court rival for Tatum.
he's more consistent.
Yeah,
He has more consistent games, whereas Jason Tatum will have a game where he scores like 10, and then he'll score 45 the next day. So
yeah.
it's depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I love the idea of being able to erupt for like 50 points, but also I like consistency.
Let's
And
be
he's a
real.
better defender too.
Yeah, and let's be real. Tatum has like the backing of being like a huge draft prospect, while Jalen Brown he wasn't. He was like a Jimmy Butler essentially.
And he has that build where he could be tall and play multiple different positions if he wants.
Hmm. Number five, now they fell off a bit, but still, like, how much can you really fall in such a tight race? The Chicago Bulls, they're at their fifth spot, 42 and 31. Now
Yeah.
they would end up facing the Celtics in the first round. I think that would be an interesting matchup. Like just because there will be a battle of the wings, like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine versus Jason Tatum and Jalen
It,
Brown.
it, it literally is the veterans versus the young guns. Because I still
Yeah,
think Levine's more experienced than Brown
yeah,
and Tatum too. So,
yeah.
um,
Vucevic is the one who really would tip the scale for them.
I really hope we see the next matchup that you're going to talk about. I really hope that is the matchup, and I
Well,
think that
before I
is
get there,
brutal for you guys. But continue.
before I get there, I would love to see one of those two teams, the Celtic versus the Bulls against the Heat as well, because even though Bam is 6'9", he's still like there's still some wings that play like that are like 6'9". So Jimmy, it would be Jimmy and Bam, like it would be such a good. We would see good head-to-head
Wait,
matchups.
you get to see DeMar DeRozan versus Kyle Lowry in the playoffs.
That's
Best
true.
friends.
Imagine if both of them fold together. On number six, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which around the entire NBA is the biggest surprise. Shout out, oh my, so many shout outs to go around. Darius Garland for sure. Colin Sexton like went down, but like you've been holding down the court and being their premier backcourt player, not from your scoring ability, but also your phenomenal playmaking. And then of course, yeah, playing with a great big man in Evan Mobley, who, well, he's a rookie, but still he's
He's
really
great.
good.
And Jared Allen.
Yeah, yeah, Jared Allen too. I don't think he really misses Brooklyn. Um, but yeah, they have such a big lineup. Shout out to Kevin Love for surviving getting dunked on by LeBron.
And
But
being a veteran and willing to sit on the bench.
yeah, exactly. But this Cavs team, on paper, because of the names, they shouldn't be as good as they are. But they're playing so well because of they're maximizing like the weapons of what they have and have a great system. And I think I don't remember who's the Cavs coach right now. Do you remember?
Man, just put me on the spot.
Yeah, I don't remember
Wait, hold
either.
on.
All right,
Um,
I'll look it up real quick.
is it
Oh, oh,
Bickerstaff?
yeah, Bickerstaff. Yeah,
Hey, let's
yeah, I
go.
think he deserves a lot of recognition 'cause for like a team like this, who essentially we look at as a team of like role players, or like and Darius Garland being like a borderline all star. They're exceeding expectations, and the system like that's a reflection of coaching right there,
I agree.
maximizing the weapons you have. The Toronto Raptors, number 7. Well, they're tied with the Cavs actually.
They should just bring
Uh,
back David Blatt, by the way. The Cavs continue.
yeah, LeBron's not there, so why not? The Toronto Raptors again. They stepped up their game as well. They'll be in the play-in tourney. Um, Number 8, the Brooklyn Nets. Well, I know all Nets fans are really hyped because as of, was it yesterday or the next Thursday, the vaccine.
When we were recorded, I'm pretty sure they were in the play-in tournament. Now they're officially. Oh wait,
Yeah,
they're still in the play-in tournament.
they're still in the playing tournament. What I was alluding to is the vaccine mandate. You looked at Kyrie being allowed to play. Nets Nation, I know you are jumping out of your chairs for this, and I'm not gonna lie.
I'm happy to.
Like I really wanted the Nets to get that sixth spot because I have a personal agenda. I definitely plan to attend a playoff game this year, and I definitely want to see Philly versus Brooklyn more than anybody else, especially because of the trash talk I've been doing at home. And the tickets would be cheaper if they meet in the first round.
I'm just happy that the Nets got Kyrie back, so I don't have to hear crying about his vaccine mandate being the reason they didn't win the finals.
Oh,
So
well,
now you guys have no excuses. So when you get eliminated in the second
yeah,
round by the Milwaukee Bucks or whoever you face in the second round, don't come crying back to me. Oh,
yeah.
Kyrie, he didn't show up.
Don't even dare talk about chemistry either. Like, because cause this team is too deep.
This
Like, to
team's
be
too good.
honest,
We're the best. And then all of a sudden you get the 8 seed. Yeah, but we got this injury and this injury and this exception and this exception. No more excuses.
yeah,
You
it
traded
was,
James Harden. You brought in Seth Curry. Kyrie's healthy. He's playing. He's allowed to play. So now you could take your L in silence. You're
and
not winning the finals.
regardless, don't blame the vaccine mandate and Kyrie leaving. They didn't completely ban Kyrie from the center. All Kyrie had to do was get an injection, so it was Kyrie's choice as well. Kyrie chose him over the team, so think about that one. Who your star is. Number 9, the Charlotte Hornets. Um, we gotta point this out. This will be the first time that um, first of all, one of the balls, but in this case, two of them will have a chance to make their first playoff debuts. I'm sure LeVar is jumping around in his chair.
Now, what if. Now, the Chicago Bulls didn't get there, but there was a point when they were at the 3 or 4 seed. Imagine if the Hornets had gotten to the 6 or 7 seed and it was LaMelo versus Lonzo in the first round.
The sad part is, I feel bad for Lonzo, but I mean, I feel like LeVar would have low-key been rooting for LaMelo. He's low-key been the favorite child,
LaMelo's the
basketball-wise.
better player, but Lonzo's on the better team.
Yeah. And number 10, the Atlanta Hawks. And boy, did they have to scratch and claw. I still don't understand how they fell off so much last year. But
No
hey,
one does.
yeah, they're above the Knicks.
Nate McMillan just lost his job probably after this year
Yep.
because he was an interim coach too. I'm not sure if he's still interim or if he was named full time. I think he did get an extension, but this is going to be a tough season for him to survive. They'll probably keep him another year, but going from
Mhm.
third or fourth seed to barely making the playoffs with the same exact um, group
Roster, yeah.
minus Cam Reddish, which should not make that difference.
Even
Um,
before they lost Reddish, they were already losing.
Horrific, yeah, horrific.
Mhm.
We'll keep an eye on that, but I think I think one of the biggest parts of it is watching guys like Kevin Huerter kind of take a massive fall off, and then Danielle Hunter, you're trying to figure out where to put back in the lineup after he was on a season-ending injury. Um, so, all right, we're in our final 10 minutes here, and I think we should just try to get to it fast. We should talk about the Western Conference. I will say real quick, why don't we give our top 3 teams in the East before we do that? And I will say that in this specific order, I'm going to say I think this is a little bit different than what I said the other day. I think the Bucks are number 1, Philly's number 2, and Brooklyn should be number 3, but performance-wise, I think Cleveland is the one team that's capable of beating anyone on that entire playoff list. Um, that's not
For
a top
me,
3 seed. Go ahead.
I'll actually say Brooklyn number 1. Milwaukee number 2, Philly number 3.
I'm just excited to see playoff Kevin Durant again because that was so fun to see last year. Even though he lost, when his
Mm-hmm.
foot was on the line with that three, oh my gosh, he was so good. Um, Western Conference. All right, I'll read them off since you did the East.
Mm-hmm.
We have Phoenix at number 1.
Yep.
They already clinched, I believe, the entire conference. Oh, best league record
Yeah.
already. Best league record.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Memphis number 2.
They clinched
3.
the playoff spot.
Yep. 3 Golden State. 4 Utah. 5 Dallas. 6 Denver. And then at the start of the play-in, we have 7 Minnesota, 8 LA, the Clippers, 9 the Pelicans, and then 10 the Lakers. So now we're officially seeing LeBron just squeeze into the play-in, and that's
Again.
not his fault. I mean, he's alone at
Yeah.
this point currently, with a bunch of retirement home players. I think we should let's talk about our top 3 or 4. We'll do top 5. Top 5. Top 5.
All right. I'll go first this time. Number 1, I have Phoenix.
Okay. Is this
Number 2,
assuming Chris Paul's health is good?
yeah, yeah. And I
Okay.
was actually gonna ask too, with the Warriors, are we gonna assume Steph Curry's gonna be back for the playoffs?
Yes.
All right. So then I have the Warriors at number 2.
Okay.
No, this is where it gets a bit tricky. I mean, well, number 3, this is tough. Number 3, I'll put the. No, you're gonna find this kind of controversial. I'll actually put the Mavericks at number 3,
Okay.
and then I'll put Memphis. No, to be honest, no. Then I'll put Utah and then Memphis.
Okay, so you're on the same bus as me. Let
Yeah.
me start off with just saying I love Memphis, and I think they could beat Golden State, which is probably going to be your biggest rival in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe Phoenix too. Memphis, for some reason, is very good at beating the very top tier teams, but they're also
Mm-hmm.
very good at losing random games in the playoffs. So I'm worried about their first round matchup, but I'm not worried about them making it to this, or playing in the second round. I think they could beat almost any second round matchup. It's just a matter of getting out of that first round because they kind of struggle there. Steph Curry is probably going to be out for 2 more weeks, so he might miss a little bit of the playoffs. All right, so let me just go down the line here because I want to be as transparent as possible with how I feel. I think number 1 is easily Phoenix, assuming Chris Paul healthy. If he's not healthy, then it's a different story. Number 2, I'm not going to assume Steph Curry's healthier. Now that reading that he could be 2 more weeks, I'm going to assume that he's potentially out for half of the playoffs. With that said, I think that Utah is starting to peak at the perfect time. Utah has spent half the year in the 6th or 7th seed, and now they're at the 4 seed. And I think that they might be 6-6 in the last 10 games, but I think they could be hot going into the playoffs. And I think it could be one of those deals where they're kind of just resting up before they go 120% in the playoffs. So I'll put 1 Phoenix, 2 Utah. I'm gonna go Memphis 3. Although I'm very worried about Memphis's performances. I think Memphis is a better team than Golden State when Ja's on the court and they're playing their best basketball. If they're both playing their top tier basketball, even if Steph has 50, for some reason the Grizzlies always have the Warriors' number. And I'm not saying they're technically a better team. I think there's better players on Golden State. It's just Memphis matches up really well against the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors would be number 4. Now that we don't know what's happening with Steph. And then number 5, that's tough. I think Dinwiddie's a big deal on Dallas. Having him there with Luka, but also losing Porzingis. He didn't contribute enough for offense, but just having like another big man. I think losing him is a little bit troubling.
You ever notice this too with Dallas? For the past years, ever since Luka's second year and make his first year making the playoff, they're always in the same spot in the West.
Yeah.
They're always there in that 5th spot.
All right, I'm going controversy, and this is going to surprise you especially. Number 5, the Lakers. I'm putting the Lakers at number 5 because supposedly AD is going to be doing some on-court activities this upcoming Monday. So it sounds like he should be ready for the playoffs, and I think that's going to be a big deal.
I got something interesting to you though. Do you think the Lakers will get into the playoffs, like past the play-in tourney?
Do you face the best? If you're the worst seed in the play-on, do you face the
You,
best, or do you
you
face the
have to.
second bottom first?
Yeah, this is how it works. Cause they're gonna have to play 2 games to get in playoffs. So like between the Memphis and the Timberwolves and the Clippers, the winner of those two, they clinch their spot. But the loser, they have a second chance. They play uh the winner between the ninth and 10th spot. So
Who's the
assuming
ninth spot?
the ninth spot is the Pelicans.
Okay, so I think the Lakers will absolutely bully the Pelicans. Now it's a matter of whether this is going to be interesting because there's rumors going around that Kawhi is going to be ready for this play-in. So if Kawhi ends up playing versus the Lakers, that is going to be a crazy play-in.
Hold on. First of all, I don't know about you, Ev. I'm gonna actually have a huge problem with that, and I'm pretty sure Stephen A. will as well, and you know why too, right? Load man. Oh
He'll
my
be ready
God,
just in time.
yo,
Just in
with the big,
time.
I think that'll be the definition, the biggest proof of a team rigging the system.
So as of a day ago, according to Sports Illustrated, Kawhi Leonard could return after play-in tournament. They have to survive the play-in tournament.
All
So
right, wait, what's the up? Have you seen any updates on Paul George?
no. Um,
LeBron's gonna dog him anyway. Playoff polyester P.
um, if they make it out of the play-in tournament, however, and Paul George and Norman Powell also return, Leonard would just need clearance from the medical staff. So there is a chance that if Reggie Jackson and company could beat the Lakers, that they get Kawhi, Norman Powell, and Paul George back for the next series. And that would be against probably the Suns, which would be crazy.
Yeah, jeez, this is the Lakers' worst nightmare. Like
They
they
should
end
be
up
okay.
facing, but the thing is, they're gonna end up facing the Suns again in the first round.
And at the same
If they,
time, too, whatever it is, for whatever reason, Reggie Jackson's lethal when he's alone. Like that
yeah.
team wins a lot when no one else is playing.
All I was gonna also say is this too. I mean, imagine if the Lakers actually pull some heroics in the playoffs to get to the finals.
I
But but that's kind of unrealistic. I'm gonna say this though. Out of everybody, I think the most pressure is going to be on Anthony Davis. Especially, did you hear the other day he said the only reason why we lost to the Phoenix Suns was because I got injured. You made a statement like that,
that
and then
team,
yeah,
that
go ahead.
team. All I'm gonna say is this: LeBron James is better than Devin Booker, and
Hmm.
Anthony Davis is better than Chris Paul.
Yeah.
When they're healthy, I know they're different positions. All I'm saying is that duo should be way better than the Suns duo going
Yeah.
into this game. With that said, great. I just threw something all over the floor.
It's the pieces around them that make the difference.
The pieces around them, but also at the same time, how is AD going to do against Eaton and Jay Crowder alone? Jay Crowder's not that much of a threat. He's 6'6". I get that, but he is very physical. So I think that Jay Crowder is going to probably bully him physically, and AD is more physical. But I think Jay Crowder is going to do anything he can to kind of stick in with the physicality, while DeAndre Eaton worries about kind of defending him down low in general. So I'm worried that it's going to break down AD, since he apparently is very injury prone, and it's going to be left to LeBron to drop 50 points to win the game
I'm
or the
gonna s-
series. Sorry.
I'm gonna add this though. You see, what's his name with AD? You would definitely have to, if you meet up, you have to go out there and go at DeAndre Ayton because he
Yeah,
straight up outplayed you last year.
he did. Um, so I think that's going to be an interesting thing if that happens. We'll kind of see where the Clippers are at because I think that really hinges on the Clippers and their health. Because
Hmm.
straight up, listen, I know LeBron's great and everything, but if Kawhi Leonard's healthy, that is a problem. And
Yeah.
especially if you just magically get Paul George too the same week, that's not good for you. I don't think that Paul George specifically will carry you, but Kawhi Leonard against a 37-year-old LeBron. Look, LeBron's great, but that's going to be very annoying for a 37-year-old star player to have to go
Yeah,
against Kawhi Leonard an entire series. And then
yeah.
that's going to kind of leave a lot to AD. And
Well, actually, well, if they meet each other, it wouldn't really be a series. It would
right, it
just
would
be
be one
one
game.
game.
But either
Yeah.
way, that's still a lot to ask from a 37-year-old to go against probably the best defender in terms of small forwards in the NBA.
Hmm.
And then you're asking AD to show up, which is a lot in any measure, because
Hmm.
AD doesn't do that. He doesn't show up.
I just gotta ask this too. This Minnesota Timberwolves team, do
Scary
you
good.
do you think they could actually potentially
They could beat
like
someone in the first round. They could beat
yeah,
someone in
I
the
was
first
gonna
round.
say because right now if they hold the seventh spot, if I feel like they
Memphis,
could low
right?
key beat Memphis. Yeah.
It depends on how D'Angelo Russell plays, because
Hmm.
he's going to be the one kind of dealing with Ja the most.
Hmm.
I think that Karl Anthony Towns will destroy. Um,
Steven Adams, he should
should
destroy him.
should.
Yeah.
And then you have Anthony Edwards probably dealing with, I want to say Desmond Bain or Jaren Jackson, one of those two. I would say Desmond Bain.
Real, really, even Jaren Jackson,
Well,
like
Jaren
that's kind of
Jackson's considered
minimal.
their power forward, right?
Yeah.
I
Isn't
know
Anthony Edwards
he
only like
started
six
as
six?
yeah, but the problem is Jaren Jackson is he used to be listed as a small forward. Now he's considered a power forward. I don't know who. No, wait a minute.
I think he's always been power forward.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not what I'm thinking about. I'm trying to think of who the small forward is.
Let me look
It's
at their roster. Is it
it's
Kyle Anderson?
no. I'm an idiot. It's Dylan Brooks.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
Dylan Brooks is good too. So it's
Hmm.
probably gonna be Dylan Brooks versus Anthony Edwards, and I think that's kind of a somewhat even matchup. I think Anthony Edwards has the potential to be better, but Dylan Brooks has also been in the league slightly longer, and he's still young enough where he's going to be in his prime. He's going to be in great shape. He'll be fine guarding Anthony Edwards. Um,
Hmm.
Now I think the big concern is I don't know who I don't know who's going to guard John Morant. Is it going to be D'Angelo Russell or is D'Angelo Russell going to guard Desmond Bain? Um, that's kind of the big question. Uh,
Hmm.
trying to think of the Timberwolves team. Let me look real quick. I know we're over time right now. Give me a second, and I will look. Do you have anything you want to add while I'm looking for this?
Nah. I think I'm done.
Okay. So, all right, Memphis is point, or not Memphis, Minnesota. Sorry. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell's playing point guard, so he will be guarding. He will be guarding him. The Minnesota has Pat Bev too. Is Pat Bev going to guard John Morant all game?
I know Pat Bev is definitely gonna antagonize him all game.
Yeah, he'll make sure he can get. He'll do everything he can to get those two techs and get Ja out of the game.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at in sports. Do you want to add, anything minor, goodbyes, hellos?
Yep, everyone, usual, like, comment, subscribe. Please spread the word, get more viewers to tune into SEVelocity. We would love to expand, but we need your help for that.
Have a great rest of your week. It is Friday, so for those of you who are working for the weekend, hope you have a good rest of your weekend with work. Hopefully it goes smooth and calm. Those of you who are not working and just finished their week, have a great couple days off. Whatever it is, family, friends, love, sports, whatever it is, I hope everything is going well with all of you, and we will see you next time. So have a great evening, have a great week, and that is all.
To me and you, I want you, I love you. Can I touch you, I rub, let me love you. Put my dreams to the side only cause I trust you. Girl, I trust you, I love you, won't judge you.